Good morning, traders. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend so far. On my side, can't complain either. Just decided to give you the weekly analysis. So today is 11th, Sunday, August. Markets are currently closed, but I'm holding some positions on Ethereum and Bitcoin. So we had a crazy week this week, and we saw wild moves in the markets, lots of fear in the markets. Beginning of the week, as the end of the week, the markets started stabilizing. So I was managing risks this week, taking partials and lots of stuff, and so far so good. So far you get to see I'm holding like 25 positions. Some are running. We have Ethereum bought from the lows of this was my open price. Currently this is the price, so very good trade. Didn't even have drawdown. That's the profit running there. We have Bitcoin. I'm still holding some sells, but I've also taken some buys from get to see I've also taken some buys, but the sells are the majority. That's why I record sell, but I've taken some buys from 56,000, and currently this is the price. So that's why I didn't want to spread fear last week, because I told you guys, whenever there's fear in the markets, people make very hasty decisions, and that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be looking for opportunities. So as people are fearing, I was on the other side, busy buying at the lows, and so far so good. These are all the positions. So my trades range from June, July, August. For people who know me, I'm a swing trader, so it's just a matter of managing risks and trading both sides of the markets. That's what I tend to do. So good week. So this week we had global stocks and Bitcoin crashing early this week on Monday, and I had to issue a warning. I had to make a video on Monday, which I don't do, and I had to tell you guys just stay out the market until I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. Both days, Wednesday and Thursday, I gave you trade setups. I didn't make a video, but I use YouTube posts, so I gave 4 pairs. So far 3 are running, except one that was CHF JPY, which I'll break it down, and I think I'll break down why I think the setup failed. So so far it's good. Gold, we get to see we bought from the lows. I told you guys it was 23 what? 23, let me check. 23.84, and that's exactly the same area I gave you guys in the analysis. I also bought oil from the lows. So if you took those 2 trades, we have also USD CHF, took that trade, very good trade. So this is what's currently going on. You can just scan and see where I took entries, where the markets are currently. I closed out some positions on stocks. I think I closed out was it Apple or Tesla, one of those, but I'm holding, I think I'm holding Apple. I still have some few shares, 6. I reduced it down to 6. Let's see something else. What other stock am I holding? No, I can't see any. Okay, I think I closed out majority of those stocks, but Apple so far so good. 224 to 216, very good. So let's go into the fundamentals. That's Forex Factory. So let's start with breaking down what happened this previous week. So this previous week we had stocks falling, we had the Bitcoin market crashing, it was simply fear built up during the weekend. So market open on Monday, we saw crazy manipulation moves, and this was because of something called the carry trade. So for new people here, the carry trade is like a get rich quick scheme done by people, and it's usually done when investors borrow money at low interest rates, usually from countries like Japan, where interest rates are around 0.3%. Then they exchange that money for currencies like the dollar and the pound, where they can earn higher returns over like 5%. This borrowed money is invested in assets like Bitcoin, the stock Apple, other stocks, hoping that the difference is the profit for them. So if the Bank of Japan was to raise of which it did raise interest rates unexpectedly, the yen became more valuable. And we get to see here on the side of the screen, I've overlaid it for you guys. Get to see the yen became valuable beginning of the week. This means investors had to pay back their loans with a more expensive yen, turning profits into losses. When this happens, they are forced to sell their assets quickly, leading to market crash. So recently the Bank of Japan, later on, after fear was in the market, the reason the market stabilized is because the Bank of Japan decided not to raise interest rates further as long as the markets are unstable. This led to a rally in global stocks, as you have seen this week, with the volatility dropping significantly. However, how long the next rally lasts depend on the upcoming economic data. So economic data, we get to see Monday we have nothing. So what I'll be looking at this week, the economical data I'll be looking at Tuesday, slightly the PMI, PPI. Then what else I'll be looking? 14th, that's when it all matters to me. 14th August, that will be on Wednesday. So if they release inflation data, which we know will be crucial, if inflation shows signs of falling towards the Fed's 2% target, it could allow for quicker rate cuts, boosting the economy and the markets, and also economic outlook. That's what I wanted to say. But the cautious thing you have to look at is on 15th here. On 15th brings more economical data that could spark new worries about a slowing US economy. So while the rally might continue this week, it's essential to stay disciplined and manage your risks and avoid investing money you can't afford to lose. So unemployment claims, this is news I'll be really focusing on this week. So I'm also telling you guys so that you can keep your eyes on it. So Monday, boring day. We just see the market a bit ranging because bank holiday. We get to see slow markets relatively. So Tuesday is good, Wednesday is very good, Thursday is extremely good, except the Euro, the French bank holiday and Italian bank holiday, but we'll trade because US has red folder news events. And then Friday, calm day, just nothing really much, the USD. So let's quickly jump onto DXY, the technicals. So let's start from the weekly time frame. We get to see on the weekly time frame what has happened. So seasonality didn't come into play. We talked about that last week. We get to see that I expected prices this week to a bit push up, but the fact that I told you on Monday that just get off the market. So we get to see the reason maybe markets dropped this week is to form this fair value gap here. So that fair value gap comes in handy this week. So if I was to move to the daily, after we swept this sell side down here, there's this area is of interest. So there's a breaker block. Get to see the breaker block on the daily time frame. We also get to see this inverse fair value gap and this fair value gap. It's on the weekly but also on the daily here. So what I'll expect is markets to push higher this coming week. I'll love to see markets break above this high, that high, push above that high, and then tap into like 50% of the breaker block, because remember it's a breaker block with a fair value gap, so it's high probability for me. So 50%, let's say somewhere there. So I'd love to see prices can wick above but not close above the 50%. So I'd love to see maybe a week or just turn around, but beginning of the week we'll see a bullish move on DXY. Once prices reach there, we expect a push to the downside, targeting maybe this fair value gap down here, and the trend continues, because on DXY, remember, we are heavily bearish, both technical wise and fundamentally. There's no news to show us that currently the dollar might push upwards. Let me check this other chart of mine. So we took this first drawn liquidity. You get to see I draw it out last week. So maybe the next target, we target this drawn liquidity. Let's move to the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, so continuation, that's what I'll be waiting for. So we get to see, talked about this some time back, and we had this correction move from here to here. We didn't tap into that as much, but we filled in the fair value gap, the inefficiency, that's what matters. And the impulse move, we get to see it was a huge impulse to the downside. So same thing, correction like this, correction, then impulse. So something to watch for this coming week. Let's quickly go to EurUsd. So in EurUsD, for the people who have been here since June, we get to see this was long-term buy-side liquidity target, which we hit this week. So for the trades we were holding from June, not July, June was down. Where is it? The trades we were holding from here, June, from here, get to see we've hit. We took this buy side, which was our first target, but long term this was our second target, of which we get to see we hit it this week. So very nice. I'm still holding those swings because market has presented opportunity, because at that time we economic data, you know, sentiment was very different, and order flow, we got to see order flow was always pushing to the downside. So this was like liquidity just below the order flow. Get to see order flow was always pushing downwards, and you know, we were always making lower lows, but so far you see this was the lower low. So yeah, we'll get to see what happens, but doesn't matter anymore. Let me check on my other chart, forex.com. So let's start from the weekly. What's my outlook? My outlook is bullish on just a bit, as the XY will be bullish beginning of the week, as it pushes towards that breaker block and that fair value gap area. It's inversely related with these other pairs, EurUsD, Great British Pound, gold. So we expect to see those pairs moving lower. So what we got to see, we swept those highs. So for EurUsD, what I'll expect is prices to push, take out this low, tap into this 3-day fair value gap here, change from there, or tap into this order block, which is on the daily. This range is for this candle. It's for this candle, so don't get confused. Let's move to the daily time frame. So here's the order block. It lines up with the pivot area. Get to see this pivot area. I've always talked about it. So we're currently above this area. So push, maybe take this low on Monday. I'm on some shorts and also some longs. So scalping, I'm on some swing trades, and the small trades above there, the current ones which I've taken, those are scalp trades. So if the sells, I can hold them until down here. I'm sure we'll get decent profit. So I'll hope we get to see this push to the downside, take this low, as DXY takes that high and pushes into that breaker block. Then once DXY reaches there, we expect to see a turn. So let's assume maybe we'll be here, or we'll be here, this order block. So we expect to see a turn on EurUsD, targeting the highs. So you'll be just targeting the highs. So this can be your first take profit. Yeah, maybe this one. So get to see how, let's see how it will play out, but that's roughly what I'm looking for in the market this coming week. Let's move to Great British Pound USD. So on Great British Pound, let's start from the weekly. So I'm on some trades. You can get to see there, I've overlaid them. So I've come far with you guys with this pair. So you get to see the last time we had this order flow, but we broke above. So order flow has changed from bearish to bullish. So what we get to see is that markets have come back to a discounted area, order block. You get to see we had a very beautiful reaction, and made sure I took a trade from that area, and we also swept this candle low. So the candle range low was swept. So ideally what I'll be looking for is to target at least this high. So this high, that's a reasonable area to target at first before targeting extreme. So that's a swing trade for me. Be swinging from down here to up here in the long run, but this can be my first target. And worry is, let me move to the daily, as DXY will be pushing upper to that breaker block. What will this be doing? Will it push, take out this candle range low? Because this is not a fair value gap, but there is a fair value gap on the weekly. There is a fair value gap here on the weekly, here to here, so can target also that fair value gap. But on the 4-hour time frame, what I'll be looking for is this, that we push above this area and retest, push above. So continue, for people who want to continue with the trade, that's a fairly good opportunity for you guys. But if markets are to push also down here and this area, take out this low, let's get to see what will happen. But that will also present us with a very beautiful opportunity to add more trades or take trades for people who haven't taken trades yet. So let's move to gold. Notice I'm just analyzing the major pairs at first, because these are the most important pairs to most people. So I have to analyze them first, then I'll break down the small pairs. And if you have any question, there's my email. You get to email me. If you want stocks recommendation, custom analysis on different pairs, I'll do that for you for free. I don't charge for that. So we get to see on gold, I called out a trade down here Thursday morning. It was actually market open, and I liked this range down here, because remember, we had this week, we took sell side, we took out this previous weekly low. This one, get to see, it was on Monday 29th, and we get to see on Monday 5th August, we get to see we took out that low. So I liked whatever was going on, and we tapped into, there's an order block. If you just extend it, there's an order block, so we tapped also into that order block and reacted well. Remember, we are bullish. Market structure has not shifted in the higher time frames for us to be bearish. We're still bullish, and I'll always say we're still bullish. So what you get to see is I called out, I was looking for entries at 82, 83, 84, 23. So 23, 84, very good area, and I caught some trades there. I posted it on Thursday on my YouTube posts. You get to see it's there. You can check it for yourselves. So very good trade so far. Now we are here, and I'm still holding the trades, and I'm also still holding the shorts from here, because you get to see in the beginning of the week, here was on Friday. So beginning of the week, I expected prices to push higher, then push into a discounted area below the 0.5, and that's what we did. We pushed below the 0.5 and into this area here with this candle, and with these moves down here, and people got to buy the pair. So very good trade. So what do I expect this week? So as DXY pushes higher, I expect gold to be going lower. So as it goes lower, I'll be taking profits, the remaining profits from these sell trades, and I think I'll leave one, because that's just my tendency. I just leave one just in case sentiment was to change and markets were to push in the opposite direction. But majority of the trades I'm holding are buys, as you get to see. So I'll expect this low to be taken. We push into this fair value gap. It's a daily fair value gap or a weekly. It's a daily fair value gap. So as we push into that fair value gap, what I'll expect is we push into that fair value gap, take that candle range low, and then we push targeting the highs. So our first take profit can be this high, maybe this extreme high, and maybe we target all-time highs. We make all-time highs on this pair. So that will just be my simple analysis on gold. So far so good. Over the last, since June, we haven't made a loss on gold, guys. Amazing. So started with you every step of the way. You don't have to take 100 trades on gold a week. Just take 2 trades maximum. That's all you need. This week, the only thing you needed to do was wait for that buy trade, and you get to see it paid off really well. Also, if someone would have been able to take the sell, because sales would have paid also, because decently I think gold offers 2 perfect trades a week, a sell and a buy always. And I got to see that's what has always happened for us. The other week we caught this buy, caught the sell the same week, so it's just natural. We had this beautiful buy the other week, so this week we had a beautiful sell. Get to see, even if prices pushed to that area, it was just to make that M formation I always talk about, so like QM, and get to see that's why I still held my shorts position, because I knew the market either will sell from here or this area I marked out last week. And so far so good. We pushed to the downside, waited for that buy, took the buy. So will we encounter resistance? Yes, a bit, because remember, I think there's an order block here, there's a proportion block, a PB somewhere here, so that PB is what's currently holding. So maybe that is what will push prices to this low, and tap into that fair value gap, and we get to push higher. So that's my analysis on gold. So what can I move to? Let's move to AUD. So the minor pairs. I'm still holding also Bitcoin. I'm still holding Bitcoin. Grabbed the, get to see, took this very good trade. 0 drawdown, remember, on our sell trade. 0 drawdown on our buy trade. So very good trade so far. And you get to see, when Warren Buffett says this, when the market is greedy, be fearful. And when people are fearful, be greedy. So when people are fearful, I was greedy, and I took some buys from the low, also 0 drawdown. It's in my other chart where I analyze it in depth. Here's just a summary of what I do. So get to see I took buys, and so far so good on this pair. On Bitcoin, I'll still continue holding, because long term, if DXY is to fall, Bitcoin should be pushing higher. I'm not saying 100k or something, but let me just hold the trades. We see where we'll target. So what I'll expect maybe is what I'm currently looking at is this fair value gap and this high. So let's see which one will be taken out first. But during the weekends it's kind of slow. Get to see how small the candles are compared to when the week during the normal trading week. So I'll wait till Monday to get to see what will happen, but so far so good on that pair. On AUD, get to see I'm still holding my sells from the high. So right now this is not accurate so far. So for 24 pips I got all this. So you can look at my risk to reward ratio. Very good trade. And my target was 92. I told you guys last week. Why was my target 92? I told you guys all this for me is just liquidity. And you get to see, as long as you do your research on the higher time frames, what matters, you see, that's all that matters. So I told you guys, for me all this was just liquidity. I didn't see anything of value there, and this was my only area of interest, which I analyzed back last year in August. So get to see, it was a point of interest, and we get to see this week, due to volatility, we kind of just dumped into that area, but I took buys from that area because let's look at the daily. I waited for prices to tap, then as prices were going up on the lower time frames, I looked for a buy trade, and I currently caught a buy, but I also caught a sell somewhere on top here, because markets can continue going lower, because this area has really been violated. So the people who had their buy trades there, guess what, they were all liquidated, because remember their stop losses were hit. Most traders actually put pending orders with the stop losses, and some had to manually close out their trades. So yeah, we broke below this low. So it was devastating for most traders, and yes, it was really bad, but so far so good for me and for us as a community here. So very good trade, 24 pips for all this. Let's see how. Wow, so if you would have lost 200 and you would have lost $297, but you would have gained 27,000. That's the best risk to reward ratio. If I hold a record for this trade, kindly send it to Guinness World Record, please. So that's on that pair. Let's move to which other pair? Great Euro, Great British Pound. So on this pair, I've been analyzing it for some time. We get to see the last time I traded it was last year, back in August. Also, we got to see we had a Wyckoff type of setup, and we had a last point of demand zone. For me, this was my last point of demand. Also, this area would have been very good, but this is always the best for me. So we pushed higher. So we just pushed, we never came back. We built up this liquidity here. This liquidity. So that liquidity was taken out this year, February. Get to see on the lower time frames, I had a sell into this area. So took that sell into this area, then bought from this area on February. Markets were really choppy that month. We tapped again into that area in March this year, and we just pushed higher, but as you could see, it was like accumulation type of move, because markets weren't really going anywhere. So it was like accumulation for me. Then this looks like the manipulation for me. And what happened, we get to see we had distribution to the downside. So as soon as we had that, the same trade you've seen on Audi JPY, the same model on the lower time frames, I was working on it on the higher time frames. So I think I've shown this in one of my videos in my channel, and I told you guys I'll be looking at how price will react once comes to this area, because remember, this is the original area. So what I do is 2 standard deviations. Then on the second standard deviation, what you got to see, you can always take a buy from these lows. So that's normally where market turns from. Same trade on Audi JPY. It's a model I'm currently working on. I have to test it on the long run, so that I can tell you guys, how profitable it is, how much, if it can be used on the higher time frames, on the lower time frames. But I've explained it to you guys, but on the higher time frames, I haven't shown you guys. So we get to see what happened is we tested here, sold. What happened is it just happened very well, because on the second standard deviation, we get to see that's when the market buyed. We get to see the buys happened there. And once we came back to the original area, we get to see we sold off from there, and that's what I expected. So if I move to the 4-hour time frame, that's why I took a sell actually. When we move to the 4-hour time frame, now this area is of interest to me. This area. So this area currently, that's where the week has ended. So it can act as a turn-cut support or resistance. So prices can either choose to go higher or break down, and based on what I've analyzed this model to do. So this can happen, or the opposite, this can happen. So get to push higher, or we break below, and yeah. But so far so good with this model. Let me break it down on let me break another model down for you guys on yes, exactly. So here's where my weekly analysis. No, before we do that, let's look at NSD USD. So I took this trade some time back with you guys. We've always been here. So we get to see what's happened is yeah, here's what happened. So we took our buys there. This week we had this manipulation, sweeping this low, and also I think on the weekly we can look at it, so it will look better. So we get to see we swept the low, and we have swept the candle range, the same candle range. We swept the low and so we have swept the high. So this week Not much to expect from this pair unless we see liquidity build up and maybe we have a push to the outside, because my overall target is to push to this high. As you guys know, we've been analyzing this trade with you. So very good trade on XauUsd. Let's get to see how things will play out. But so far, get to see on the 0.5 we've reacted well. So if order flow will continue, well and good, but my overall outlook is to target this area, because we saw this area push prices lower, so we expect this area to hold and we get to push prices higher. So on my last analysis, so out of the analysis I gave you guys on the YouTube posts, this is the only trade that decided to go negative. So get to see this, the curve has been completed. But let's check on, where was it, forex.com. Okay, so what we got to see, guys, I gave out this sell from here, told you guys just wait for the retest and continue, and I told you from these lows expect SMC traders to be buying, because remember that's the extreme point of interest. So I told you here or here, that's where they'll be looking for buys. Although we'll have a short-term buy, expect a continuation to the downside. So that's what I was currently expecting, and we get to see took the day I posted the USD CHF analysis on my YouTube posts, we were here. Immediately market sold off, but we get to see because of news we extended higher. Found a trade there though, because on the retest found a trade took. So let's get to see how markets will play out, but I'm still targeting downside for me on this pair. Let's now move to CHF-JPY. So this is the only trade that decided to go south, but let me show you what my thinking was. So we took out the sell side in the higher time frame, tapped into this higher time frame order block on the 4-hour time frame. Very good. Get to see this is the type of like structure we were having. So let's move to the 2-hour time frame. So what you get to see, let's start from the 4-hour. Actually, it's something I have to show you guys. So on the 4-hour, this is what we were having. We were having this type of move. So I was expecting prices to retest this area and push higher. So get to see this area where I've marked out. You get to see very respected, just weeks. This is also a week on a higher time frame because it pushes up and it's quickly engulfed. It's also a week, weeks on the downside. So this area was point of interest, which was holding price, and the whole week we got to see prices were just ranging but not closing below this area. So I expected prices to push from here to go higher. So on the 1-hour time frame, what we got to see, we had our change of character very well, but we had this 45-minute order block from here, of which I took my standard deviations and projected out. And what I expected is prices to not close below this area. This is the -2 to -2.5 area. I didn't expect a full expansion. So what I did, I expected prices, you see this one aligns very well with the pivot area. So it aligned very well, and we got to see prices were behaving really well. Prices were just respecting this area, until Friday, when prices finally decided to push lower. So on the 30-minute time frame, let's start from the 15. So on Thursday, this was on Thursday. So on Thursday, this week, what we got to see, after that, I took my model out, plotted my cycles, and we get to see on this second cycle here, from here to here, we get to see where did prices start pushing up. Exactly the red area. The red area is the 0.4. It acts as the New York kill zone. I think I've explained about it. So it's the 0.47 to 0.67 area. So that area, we get to see prices started pushing from there, and there was on the 1 minute there was this breaker block, took a buy. But what I expected is prices to close above this area, because remember I plotted my standard deviations, and I was like, if prices are not going to close above this area that day, then that was just a retracement to the downside. So prices didn't close above, we wicked above. Prices really tried closing above so that we get to have a full expansion, but we didn't have. So that area, it means it was just going to push prices down back to this area. So I just closed out my trades as soon as we took out, I think, this low. Took profits, waited for Friday. We got to we had the same thing. So we get to see this was our like pivot area, like our resistance. It was a support, but once we closed below, became resistance. So I was looking for Friday. I was like, let me wait for prices to push higher, because we're in this area. Monday was a bit volatile, but we wicked below this on the high time frame. This on the 15-minute. Get to see we closed up down, but quickly got engulfed. So I was looking for entries, and I was like, let me look for entries. And this is what I did. Plotted my cycles. No, it wasn't on this specifically, it was on this, the breaker block. So the breaker block was formed during the first cycle, but during the second cycle, this is what I did. From the start of my cycle to the end of my cycle, get to see whenever there's a PD array that aligns with my cycles and the area that acts as a kill zone for me, get to see that prices tapped into this breaker block. And where did prices start going up from? Exactly at the start of that time period, of which I just tell you guys, it's just time and price. Like, you don't have to overcomplicate your analysis. If there's no break of structure, there is no order block. So we didn't have that, and that's what I was looking for. But so far my cycles were doing well. I was finding entries. So on Friday I tried again, took my trade there, a buy on that breaker block, which aligned with my cycles. That's how I'm able to get precise entries. I have so many models that I test myself. That's why most of this stuff, I don't take the credit for it. It's actually what I build on top of what ICT has taught and what I get from other people. So I love building trading models and, you know, see them work out and play out in real time, and that's how I get the most precise entries, because I don't use what people use. I rely on both time and price. So for the people who are asking and emailing me, you get to see I have so many emails, 2,500 emails, and if you want to email me please. So I'll be replying, actually after the video I'll be replying to all emails. So you get to see as soon as we tap on this area, I take my buy, because it's high probability. 95% of the time it will hold. So start of the cycle there, took my entry, bought, but you get to see we had a rejection. As soon as we had that rejection and we closed below this low, I was like, yeah, this pair is not going to go up anytime soon. So I took a short instead and plotted a good entry to take my short. And exactly that's where I took my short. And but I really expected this trade to push higher, guys. That's why I gave it out, but it just didn't work out. So you've learned something, and that's my simple analysis on everything, major pairs and the smaller pairs. So if you have any question, email me, I'll be replying today. Other than that, guys, have a wonderful day. Also, US oil, get to see I took the trade from around here. So for the people who were asking for the setup and sent you guys, so what I expect is prices to push higher to this area. So prices can push higher to this area, then sell. So let's see how that plays out, because we have a liquidity here, imbalance there, then a point of interest there. So, and the sell side was taken with this, and order flow changed with that. So you guys have an amazing week ahead of you. Remember to maintain risk management, trade well, don't overtrade. In case of any question, email me. And yeah, God bless.